Howdy, 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 friends. Thanks for tuning in to the Sound Room Studios YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about a demo that I recorded here in my studio and wanted to take the full demo and also create out of that a guitar vocal demo. And today I'm going to focus on the acoustic guitars that I'm using for this demo. Um, Also, I'm using all Slate plugins for this demo for this video. I have a ton of UA and Waves plugins, love them all, but really wanted because I'm going for an acoustic guitar vocal demo. I really wanted a very warm, in-your-face sound, very analog-driven sound for the acoustic guitars. This particular song is being pitched in Nashville, so I needed to have some of that analog feel to it. And so I wanted to get there using only Slate plugins. So we'll talk a little bit about those, but let's listen first to the track, to the three acoustic tracks, and I'll start them here in the pre-chorus. So here we go. Okay, so what we have here are three different acoustic guitars that were tracked separately. I have I used a Gibson SJ200 acoustic guitar for this, and I used the Slate ML1 and ML2 mics. So for the ML1 mic, I used on this first acoustic track here. And I'll bring the plugins here momentarily, but this is going through the VMS1 preamp, which is clean, transparent, into a line input on my Apollo. And so that's this first acoustic. The second acoustic was tracked with an ML2, and then the third one was tracked, I think, again with the ML1 using a capo on that same Gibson SJ200. So I'll isolate these for you just for comparison. Okay, so now the trick here was to get a lot of presence and warmth, and again, a very analog feel. So I went sort of old school with this and took an approach of if I were recording to a tape console or to a tape system, how would that signal flow work? Well, it would go from mic to preamp, and then from your preamp into your tape machine using 2-inch tape. I would go at 30 IPS so that I'm, the faster speed, cleaner recording. And then from your tape machine into your console, in this case, I'm going with the SSL 4K model into the SSL EQ, and then ultimately into an LA2A. So just talking a little bit about mic selection first. I've got all of the Slate models. I'm a huge Slate fan. I've got the B67 on this first acoustic track. So we'll focus and kind of hone in on that one first. And I'll bring these in one at a time. Just a couple of notes here, though. Again, B67 into a Neve 1073. What I'm trying to do here is just drive it, get a little bit of drive out of it, but not distort. I want the warmth, but I don't want it to distort and break up. And then into tape, the same thing. For the tape machine, what I'm doing here is putting it into the red, but not clipping it, not distorting it, running 2 inches, using the FG9 at 30 IPS with the normal bias setting. I like the normal bias setting on the Slate setup. And then back into the console using the 4K SSL. And again, I'm going to drive this into the red, but not peak or clip it. And then here on the EQ, I'm not doing anything huge in terms of EQ movements. I'm rolling off at 60 hertz, giving a little bit of a boost at 250, about 1.5 dB. I'm cutting a little bit at the 1K, about, again, just slightly around 1.8 dB cut. And then trying to bring a little bit of highs, just kind of get the sizzle on the top of that at 4K with a slight 1 dB boost. And then at 8K, I'm boosting about 1 dB there as well with a bell on it. So not a shelf, but an actual bell. And then for compression, I'm really loving this FG LA2A. It just sounds great. It's so easy to work with. And so I'm just dialing in a little bit of compression. I'm not wanting to distort it or drive it too hard. So here's your first acoustic, and I'll bring these in again one at a time. You can hear it brighten up. You can see slight, just hitting it. Bring the second acoustic in. So on the second acoustic, I'm kind of doing the same thing. The only thing different here is I'm using a R121 with the ML2 instead of the ML1 mic. And then from that, again, into the tape and out of the tape machine into the SSL with the SSL EQ. Similar setup here, just rolling off 55 hertz, a little boost at 250. A steeper cut here at the 1K range because it was a little kind of boxy there, and then the same thing, trying to create a little bit of a lift on the high end, but again not a shelf, and then into the LA2A compressor. So I'll bring these in one at a time as well. Here we go. And then for this third capo track, same thing. I went back to the B67 because I love the brighter feel to that. Still warm but bright. Same tape settings. And then I went 2 compressors here on this one because I really wanted to kind of push it out in front on the choruses when it kicks in. So let's hear these come in one at a time. All right, so that really sets that up nicely, brings it in, those all 3 acoustics now are kind of blending and playing in the same space nicely together with that analog warmth that you can get out of Slate plugs. And then lastly, on the acoustic bus, I am sending that through the LA2A and really goosing it up here so we get some, again, because it's guitar vocal, it's really just providing a bed for the vocals, so I needed more warmth and low end on it. And I needed to drive harder. So I've got that coming in through this, and then I'll bring in the Slate reverb as well, so you can hear that bus coming in, the reverb bus coming in. So here we go. Everything back on. So you can really hear how the Slate plugs just breathe life into those 3 acoustic tracks. I mean, they're pretty well recorded. Not this is not in a top room in Nashville, but obviously well recorded, performed pretty tightly, and then the Slate plugs just bring life to it. Again, it's good not to get carried away. You don't want to distort it. You can do some huge sweeping EQ moves. You can do a lot of things with the Slate plugs. But really, what I wanted to do was just give it warmth, give it presence, and kind of put it, as a good bed for vocals to lie in on a guitar vocal. I'll let you hear just a little bit of the track. With the acoustics sort of providing a bed for the bass guitar, the drums, and the electric guitars as well. So here's a little more of the fuller mix. So, Pro Tools is so super friendly these days. A lot of plugs for 128 samples will up that. But you could hear how the acoustics didn't lose their identity when the full mix was coming in as well. So again, this is the Slate plugs are great for this. They can give you all the warmth and the presence. You can have complete control of your signal and your tone. I love these plugs. I swear by these plugs, and you can see. I mean, I've got them all over drums and my guitars as well. So huge fan of the Slate product. It's a great program. And if you don't have Slate plugs, I think you can sign up for the monthly subscription for like $15 a month, and they're not paying me for this video at all. I love Slate plugins. I've used them for a number of years, and highly recommend that you try them out. Try it for a month. If you don't love them, you can always cancel the subscription. But for $15 a month, you really can't beat what you're getting out of this. So with that, I will let you hear a little bit as we wrap up. Thanks for tuning in.